Hi, everybody. So today is the actual transmission is this early evening. The actual transmission that people can participate in by tuning. We did a preview this morning, so some of you may not have heard the preview and the preview instructions, but we are transmitting an actual radio signal, very, very powerful signal that will go between the antenna in the southern United States and hit the planet Mercury, which is the messenger planet, in 4.3 minutes approximately at the speed of light. And by tuning your nervous system, like what Pythagoras called the musica humana, your musical instrument is your nervous system, is yourself. And if a musical instrument is out of tune, you're going to have an out of tune experience. But when you tune your human instrument to a very specific set of frequency octaves, then it aligns you to that experience. And by having a potential large amount of people eventually with these transmissions, we will all synchronize with the signal, which goes out at 432 megahertz, and that's like the passenger train. And we're going to be sending a series of tones. The first tone you're going to hear is the 144.1 hertz, which is a nice low tone. You can either listen and make sure you're using headphones, people. Don't rely on your cell phone speaker or your computer speakers, because speakers start at around 40 hertz. And even though you'll hear the first tone, when we switch to the octaves of the planet Mercury, which starts just a smidgen below 20 hertz, where humans start cognitive hearing, you won't hear it on your phone. You're only going to be able to hear this on headphones. And you can do one of two things when you hear the tones. You can either just listen and let it naturally tune you to those frequencies through the left and the right hemisphere of the audio cortex and the brain. Or you can actually chant a sound, just make a vowel sound, like an A sound for a nice low tone, an O sound for a middle tone, and an U sound or an I sound for a very high pitched tone. Just play with it. Don't worry about it. Just have fun with it. And once you're tuned to the planet Mercury, then you will, you can close your eyes, you can visualize or vocalize even your questions to the universe, your intentions for healing, your intentions to receive insights. You're sending out your messages to the messenger planet. And that's why this is very, very powerful, because we're not just doing it abjectly, meaning without form. We're doing it by tuning. And then following the tones, you're going to hear a solo singing track by my wife, Crystal Sereda, who is now on the other side of this world. And then it will be followed by a track of my two children's voices, just saying, calling all angels in a very childlike way. And following that, you'll hear my voice making a simple prayer to the angels to ask for help. And when you ask for help, ask for it in your own particular way. I mean, this is an artistic scientific experiment that we're inviting you to participate in. And you can go to my website, which just flashed on the screen, davidsereda.co, and become a member of the transmissions. There will be 14 transmissions per year in partnership with myself, David Sereda, and Jimmy Blanchette. And then the people who have the memberships can get the pre-training and the post-analysis, and the actual transmission itself, I just want everyone to know, is free. So if you don't feel to contribute, that's fine. Just enjoy the transmission. And there's very good documentaries on my website at davidsereda.co. If you go to the transmission page, we went over quite a bit of this morning. But the transmission will be starting in about well, it'll be at 5:17 p.m. Pacific time. So wherever you are, make note of the time, because that's when it begins. That's when you want to have your headphones on and be ready to go within and participate in this experience. So, Jay, do you want to tell them a little bit about yourself and about your perspective on the transmissions?
Sure.
Sure.
Hi, David, and hi, everyone. Glad to be here. Very excited to participate to this experience and experiment at the same time. So we will be broadcasting towards Mercury, David mentioned, with about 125,000 watts at 432 megahertz. And so at this power, the radio wave will physically reach Mercury and go, of course, far beyond what's not hitting Mercury. But the radio wave will physically reach Mercury, and it is most likely that this message and this broadcast we're going to make is going to be heard by dozens of civilizations. I've been broadcasting for over 4.5 years now. Have good documentation of the results, and we'll show that. I do have a few slides that we'll go through in a few minutes, and a short video as well to show you to show the audience a bit what this first contact protocol is capable of doing. And so we'll take advantage of that. And I have also, I'm currently in my Radio Shack here. I'm still setting it up. I have a lot of equipment around me. The antenna is set up outside. The antenna is pre-positioned towards Mercury right now. And I do have also a live feed, the camera on top of the antenna array. So when we are actually broadcasting, we'll switch the video to this live feed, and we'll be able to see in real time the antenna in the sky that it's going to be pointing towards, or towards Mercury. Obviously, we don't see Mercury right now, but we'll be able to see the antenna. And I'd like also to...
There it is. I can see Mercury right now. You can get a Starfinder app on your phone. It's just to the left and below the central axis of the sun, and Venus is right behind it. So it's up there. And you mentioned, Jimmy, that because we're transmitting at such a low angle, it will amplify the power of the signal. Can you describe that?
Right. So once we are low enough, the certain degrees, above the horizon, where the radiation pattern or the radiation essentially hits the ground and recombines with the direct wave of the antenna, and you have an amplification factors that can take place. Typically, it can amplify your signal from factor 2 to 4. So, if you transmit with, let's say, 125,000 watts, you could reach 250,000 watt or even 500,000 watt using this property. Now, I redid the calculation, and initially, when I had calculated the angle or the elevation, Mercury was at 9-degree elevation once we're going to be doing the experiment, but unfortunately, I realized the software I used was off by about an hour. So we'll still transmit 125,000 watts this time, and we'll schedule the next transmission to take advantage of that ground gain, we call it.
Okay, so yeah, it would have to be a bit later. Well, of course, as the year progresses, Mercury at an earlier hour is going to be below the horizon. It's actually really incredible to get. I use Star Walk 2 in my phone. It's this little app right here, and when I touch the app, it opens up, and wherever you point it, it's showing you the constellations and the positions of the planets, which is really, really cool to do. And so also, I want to point out, for people who weren't here this morning, there's another level of doing transmissions, and this requires some training and possibly licensing. But Jimmy uses these Baofeng handheld radios, and mine is actually tuned to 432 megahertz. And that is the frequency of the signal. Let me show you something on my share screen here in a second. I just want to see if you can see my calculator, everyone. Actually, let me just go to share screen. Share screen, and then we go to share screen. And can you see my calculator right now?
Yes.
Okay, so if we take 432 megahertz, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I divide it by the sacred 144.0 144.1, which you're going to learn lots about during the transmissions, you see a function of the speed of light. 299, the speed of light in metric is 299,792.458 meters per second, right? And the decimal slides over depending on where you do the calculation. And that is so remarkable, so mind-blowing remarkable. And this insight came when Jimmy and I last summer on August the 8th on the Lionsgate did a moon bounce transmission off of the moon and hit the center of the transmission, hits the Great Pyramid of Egypt, which caused a very noticeable activation of the pyramid. And in that activation, this absolutely phenomenal mathematical formula was being perfected by the two of us during the actual live transmission. And you can learn more about that. I mean, Jimmy and I should probably do just a webinar just on that discovery, because the rippling effects of that discovery could change our understanding of physics and where we are in the universe, and why the speed of light is the speed it is in our Earth dimension. So because we view everything at the speed of light, we're not seeing our universe in real time. So we're seeing Mercury as it was 4.3 minutes ago, and we're seeing the sun as it was 8 minutes and 21 seconds ago. So the very fact that this 432 ratio to 144.1 produces the speed of light, I just want you to understand, when we're doing the first tone tonight, which you're going to hear during the actual transmission, which is, around a half an hour away from right now, the ratio of that tone you're hearing to the broadcast signal is a ratio of 1 to a function of the speed of light. And that demonstrates a harmony, an actual harmonic. But the implications of this are so far-reaching. They're so incredibly far-reaching. In fact, if you take so let me go to my share screen. Can you see the planets right now, Jimmy?
Yes.
So if you look at the idea, and this mythically has been described by many ancient philosophies and religions, that it is not a coincidence that there are 9 levels of heaven and 9 levels of the angelic realm, and that there are 9 planets. And if you eliminated Pluto, you could just include the sun as one of those cosmic spheres, and you still have the magic number 9. I happen to believe Pluto is a planet, but nevertheless, notice that Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, so therefore it makes sense that it acts as messenger to the solar logos, or the solar cosmic center of this particular solar system. And therefore it can be the intermediary to the rest of the planets, because it's the closest to the source of the greatest physical light in this particular solar system. And it has been equated by the ancient Greeks to be one and the same as the god Mercury, which is the god Hermes, are one and the same. And in mystic Christianity, the archangel Gabriel which is the messenger angel. And although all messengers can act as angels, Gabriel has historically been a great messenger. And also the Apostle Paul has been associated with Mercury the messenger, because, in fact, and the Archangel Gabriel, because he was the messenger of the message of Christianity. So each planet, in fact, when we get to Venus is described in the scriptures and even in the book of Revelation as the rising morning star. And Venus is known as the rising morning star, and it literally is being equated in relationship to heaven, actually, in the scriptures. So you can see many places in biblical scriptures where the planets correspond to heavenly or angelic orders. And in ancient Kabbalah, you can clearly see a connection to the planets. And and the angelic, the levels of different angels. And if you go to Dante Alighieri's vision in the Divine Comedy, which were actual visions, Dante places the planets among the different levels of heaven. In fact, Saturn is the 7th level of heaven, and beyond the 7th is the 8th and the 9th. And when you get to the 9th level in Dante's system, you're actually, the eighth level, you're entering the fixed stars, so therefore constellations. So I want to point out that we're planning on 14 transmissions per year. Some of our targets will be nearby stars, such as Sirius, Pleiades, and even Alpha Centauri. There's a very, very interesting transmission that Earth received just before coronavirus, literally just before, from Proxima Centauri, and you're going to be learning about so much fascinating information about communicating in our local solar system star group. And then, of course, we will be doing moon bounces into sacred sites, or activating the sacred sites on the Earth itself. And so there's a lot of exciting participation for you, because you can participate in these events and you can benefit from these events in these very, very tuned alignments between your tuned nervous system and where we're actually sending the message. And actually, Jimmy and I both believe that part of the signal is faster than light, because we both noticed that the moment we had the intention to do the Lions Gate on 8/8, Jimmy already started getting the download about the secret formula. And I had this incredible dream of a blinding beam of light coming from above the Great Pyramid and entered my chest in this lucid dream, and my chest exploded and was transmitting these strobing energies of light. And then it was only a matter of weeks later that, or actually maybe even less than that, that we did the actual transmission. So Jimmy, can you talk about your experience when you started inciting the secret formula of 432 to the speed of light, and maybe show some of those slides again, because some people might not have been here this morning. I just have to go to stop share screen here so that you can.
Yes,
you can share screen. There we go.
Perfect. Let me open the full presentation here so I can share the slides. I need a second. So we had quite an amazing experience, and as David mentioned, even initially, immediately after sending out, or establishing the intention of doing the experiment, the information started coming through, and it was pretty powerful. So let me show you a few slides here. I'm gonna share on the screen. Let's see. Give me a second here.
It's almost like the faster than light part of it is the intention is a huge part of this. But then when you do the physical transmission, you feel it a million times stronger than when you're making that intention.
Exactly. So can you see the slides?
Not yet. No. Shiro says there's a little delay when you click on it. It takes it a. Actually, maybe I have to add to stream. There you go. There you go.
Got it. Okay. So let me take two. Actually, this is here a representation of what we did on the Lions Gate. So we see a signal that was transmitted from my radio station here. We hit the moon, 432 megahertz at using 250,000 watts, and the front wave that came back essentially impregnated the entire planet, but also the specific targets that we had assigned. It was in a pyramid in this case. And so immediately, as David mentioned, upon setting up the intention of doing the experiment, much information came through already. And during the experience itself, or the experiment with David, as we were broadcasting these tones, a lot more information came through. And so we ended up essentially, to make a long story short here, this is the formula that emerged from this work. As David mentioned earlier, we see the 432. By ratioing this 432 universal frequency or universal number over the famous 144/100 megahertz, we end up with the speed of light really at a very high accuracy, at 99.99978 accuracy. So very, very impressive. And, obviously from there, once we've defined the speed of light, essentially, this formula defines a building block of the speed of light. We can work out all the other formula that involve, of course, the speed of light, but the energy and mass, this is all intrinsically related, as we can see in this formula here. And so it was a big step forward. And we had also other revelations. So that one came actually the day prior to, a few days prior to the actual transmission, where we established that the fundamental measurement unit of the Great Pyramid itself, which we know is the cubit, once we convert that length into a wavelength, the quarter wavelength of a quarter wavelength monopole antenna, we see that there's resonance with the 144.1 megahertz is perfect,
And
and
that is mind blowing in itself, people. So the measurement of the Hebrew long cubit in inches is 20.4 inches. And if you use that as an antenna, as a monopole, its wavelength is 4 times its height. And all you do is you take the speed of light in inches or in metric divided by the wavelength in inches in metric to get your frequency. And it happens to come to 144.1 megahertz. And what's amazing about Jimmy's antenna is you'll notice, because you're going to see it during the transmission, all the crossbars are that measurement. Is that correct, Jimmy?
that's right. That's right. The antenna, I do have a picture here. So we see at the bottom left here, this is the antenna that I use to transmit on that frequency. And by definition, since the quarter wavelength of this monopole antenna, a quarter wavelength equals the Hebrew cubit exactly. Well, by definition, by nature, the elements that are essentially making up the antenna themselves are cut to resonate to that frequency. So we were essentially like transmitting with the equivalent of the cubit, the
Hebrew cubit. And so this is, and Jimmy built this antenna himself, and he's been using it for years. And when we made the discovery of the 432 megahertz to the 144.1 was the speed of light, he realized what he had intuitively, creatively incited with, the grand organizing designer, God, whatever you want to call it, is literally a biblical antenna. And I just think that is spectacular, how Jimmy was so tuned in to receive this. But again, during our first transmission, the insights are so huge. Can you show the slide of the height of Jesus in the Shroud of Turin?
Yep, absolutely. Here we
Because
go.
I can kind of describe that to people. So you can see that because our skeleton is made of calcium, which is a metal, so therefore it acts as an antenna. If you remove Jesus's flesh, which is on the bottom of the feet, and you straighten his legs, and I really researched this, there's so many different speculative measurements of his height in the Shroud of Turin, but the most accurate one I could find, by removing the small amount of flesh on the bottom of the heel and a very small amount at the top of the head, he's 72.05 inches. And a dipole antenna transmits a wavelength 2 times its height. So his wavelength is 144.1 inches, the same magic number. So if you're imagining Jesus as a tuned dipole antenna, he's tuned to the 144.1. And the Great Pyramid of Egypt originally had 144,000, and we're debating whether there was another 145,100 white casing stones that were removed by early Muslim robbers who took the stones and made a mosque out of it. So basically, you also see in the book of Revelation, which is the last slide to the right, that there's at the end of the Revelation period, there's 144,000 humans that ascend to the throne of God or the angelic level, and the remaining humans who are vibrating in a high enough dimension live in the new paradise earth, because they're not ready to vibrate at the angelic level. They still are saved and live in the new paradise earth. So again, the saying, knock and the door shall be open. I mean, knocking on heaven's door is what this is about. What Jimmy and I are doing is tonight we will be knocking on the messenger's door. And because your nervous system, like I said, you can either get your headphones on. Remember, don't use your speakers on your computer. That's not going to work very well. And either listen to the tones and get tuned. And once the tones are done and the song begins, as you start to hear Crystal's her melody, which is the solo melody, start intentionalizing your messages that you want to put out to the universe for help, for healing, or just looking for the answer to something, because this is the opportune moment for people globally to do this incredibly loving intention connection in this synchronistic, highly tuned frequency moment. And nothing like this has been done before. I do know that when George Harrison died, the famous Beatles singer, NASA did a similar thing where they took his song across the universe and they transmitted it on a radio antenna, not unlike Jimmy's, but probably not a biblical antenna like his, but they transmitted it to Polaris, the North Star, and it still hasn't reached there. That transmission left Earth in 2008. But I want you to understand, most of the radio stations you're hearing are music and news media that's bounced off satellites down to the Earth. What's very different about what we're doing is we're sending signals off planet, and we're going to be ringing. If you can imagine the 9 planets like gongs, and your radio signal is your mallet, you're going to be knocking on Mercury's door. Then we're going to knock on Venus's door. Then we're going to knock actually on Earth's door. And there's a really amazing way you can transmit directly into the Earth's crust, actually. And then we go to Mars and Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus and Neptune, which are all in ancient Kabbalah associated with the angels, as well as in ancient Hindu systems and Vedic systems. So what we're doing resonates with all the religions of the world, is what I'm saying. But we're doing it really. We're not just doing intention. We're actually sending a real signal, and it's a very powerful signal. If you think of even 250,000 watts, that's like, that's 2,500 homes at 1,000 watts each, right? So that's a lot of power that's going into a very focused beam and resonating with that planet. And when the transmission's over, you'll just see what happens. Watch your dreams, watch your coincidences in your life in response to what you ask for, because sometimes what you're asking for comes in the form of a coincidence. It might even be a person you meet in the shopping center, or somebody you meet online is actually coming back to you because the universe orchestrated that person to come back to you with the answer to your message, right? So we're not just sending the audible portion of the message on the carrier wave of 432 megahertz. You're sending your intention. And because your nervous system is electric, it has an electric auric field, you are in the synchronistic moment actually really, not just metaphorically, you're actually part of the transmission.
I do have, David, I don't know if it's appropriate to show, I do have a 5-minute video that shows a transmission and a sighting.
No, let's show it, because we're 17 minutes away from the actual transmission. So everybody get your headphones on. Jimmy's going to show a 5-minute video.
Perfect.
Of another transmission that he did.
So this is to give an idea to the audience that these transmissions are actually being received and decoded and acted upon by non-human intelligences who are monitoring us. And so the video we're going to see here is an experience that took place in November 2020. So a few months ago, but it's fairly recent still. It was a very powerful experience. So I will play that live now, and hopefully the sound goes through properly. So here we go. So this is again an actual transmission that I made, and what happened next.
Is there audio there? Or?
There's gonna be audio after this. Yep. You can hear the audio. Okay.
We had one of those right over my house last night, and it was golden, super, super bright. Really spectacular. So let's. Do you want to open up the console for the where the transmission starts? Because we're only.
Yes. So let me do this now.
So you can everyone get your headphones on for the tones, and you want your headphones connected to your.
Okay, so what we see here is a live feed from the antenna array. So you see there are two antennas. There is one to the left here and one to the right. So they are phased in an array to maximize the power, to double the power.
And those crossbars are really visible. Those are your Hebrew long cubic crossbars in the antenna.
And so and the antenna is pre-positioned towards Mercury. So Mercury right now is at 234 degree azimuth and about 22.7 degree elevation. So I'm checking my antenna system to make sure everything is. And so we're going to be starting in 10 minutes. So in 10 minutes, the Mercury will be at 236.21. So the antenna is pre-positioned. It's ready to go. I do have also a screen. Let me show you here. This is another screen that I have. This is my control station. So I'm essentially capable of controlling my entire radio station remotely with my computer. So this is the, if you will, the virtual control station. So we have the radio here is what's to the left, and you can see here all the settings. I can really adjust any settings and power remotely. We have at the bottom right here is the actual position of the antenna. Again, the radio wave will be transmitted like a laser beam. So we need to target very specifically, direct the antenna towards the target. So that's ready to go. And in the antenna's position, I will be, as soon as we start transmitting, I will be recording the screen here. And I invite the folks out there, if you watch the TV, the screen at the same time, we could have a sign from, extraterrestrial civilizations during the transmissions. I just want to point that out. Because it happened.
That happened before. It happened when we sent Crystal's song to Jupiter or Saturn. You had one appear right between the antenna and.
That's right.
That was incredible when that happened. And this is daylight, so gentler light sources may not be so visible. But also, so first you're going to hear the 144.1 tone. Then you're going to hear 7 tones of Mercury for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then after that, then you're going to see a song. You're going to hear a song, a solo song, the children's voices, and my voice very briefly addressing the angels. And then you're going to see 2 pictograms, right, Jimmy? You're going to see.
Right. So let me show. Actually, I should show this now. This is the sequence here, and there was a minor modification. So let me show you this here. We have. The very first to warm up the amplifier will be the pictogram will be transmitting.
It'll be the pictogram. Which pictogram?
Yeah, and let me show the audience here the pictogram, how it looks like. So this is the pictogram that will be transmitted. So again, this image has been turned into an audio file, literally. And the non-human intelligence are capable of taking this audio file into reconstructing this message, right? So, and we see here there's a greeting message and a message asking the civilizations to assist us and so forth. So you can read it for yourself. There are also a number of latitude, longitude, and coordinates here that are mentioned, which all corresponds to coordinates of sacred ancient sites, which are located around the Earth, literally like an equator. These ancient sites are all lined up on a bend of 100 kilometers wide around the Earth, like an equator, and they're all connected through the world grid and connected mathematically as well. So when we hit one, we can vibrate and can resonate with all the other ones.
And you'll notice that the Great Pyramid's north latitude is the speed of light also.
Yes.
Again, to the same degree of perfection in 10 base digital. If you convert the degrees, minutes, and seconds of the north latitude of the pyramid, it's also the speed of light. And And that has huge implications as well. We're going to go very deep into that.
Yeah.
So then second is the Starry's Eyes is last as a pictogram. Okay.
That's right.
So this is the schedule, and so when you hear the tones, the 144.1 and the Mercury scale up, you can either listen or use your voice at home. Don't worry, we won't hear you. And then Crystal's solo, my message, and the children's message, and then A Starry's Eyes which is my 6-year-old child's eyes are going to go out as a pictogram, and I just think that's really beautiful, with the magic of children. I mean, Jesus said, unless like a small child shall you enter the kingdom of heaven. So using the children's voices coming from Earth to the planet Mercury and the child's eyes are very special. And I wanted to get more children involved, but we can do that maybe next time. And we welcome your feedback, and also, just report to us by email through my website if you have any experiences in the following weeks, because your experience can show up within weeks.
Yeah,
we love to hear from you.
Yeah, this is important, and this is although we use technology, this is really the root of this phenomena is really consciousness, and so everything that David is saying is really spot on. It's important to tune with consciousness, and we may experience, and some individual may experience things very, very powerful and very customized to them. And so I encourage everyone to be in tune. There's a little message here which I like, and it's a message from an extraterrestrial entity who said the following: "If humanity will lead, we will match your efforts." And so I thought it was a beautiful quote.
Beautiful.
Be appropriate.
That means we have to knock to receive. I mean, if we don't knock and we don't ask, then we won't receive. They won't match our efforts. And you beautifully showed how you asked for their ships to appear, and they did. That's just incredible. You've demonstrated that so many times. Please watch First Contact, Jimmy's documentary, which is on my website at davidsereda.co, and go to the transmissions page. So we're literally getting close to the countdown. To me, this is like being in Houston control. And it's very, very exciting. I'm going to be using my handheld radio, and when Jimmy starts transmitting, I'll be turning on my radio to 432 megahertz, and I'll be pushing the call button down. And my nervous system, as I demonstrated in the video this morning, which is on my website, my whole nervous system will be vibrating at 432 megahertz. But technically yours will too, even without one of these. It's just on a more subtle level. So here we go. We're at 5. We're almost at 5:15, so we're 2 minutes away.
And so I'd like to do a brief audio test, David. So I'm gonna start the sequence just for 2 seconds, and let me know make sure the audio goes your way, because this audio is from the other computer that I have behind me. Let me just start it for a couple of seconds. Let me know if you hear it.
Okay. Yeah, I hear it. Yeah, that's the pictogram. When you hear that sound, it's not the tones, it's the pictogram being transmitted. So it may sound a little strange to you, but that's actually the picture encoded into a frequency transmission. And then following that, you'll hear the tones.
Very good. So we're 2 minutes and a half away from going on the air. So I'll make sure everything is set up here.
It's a beautiful evening where you are, where your antenna is. There's a nice lens flare there, and you got beautiful sun. I used to live in the southern United States, and it's you got a nice clear sky, and Mercury is nice and low on the horizon right now. This is a cosmic moment, everybody.
Yeah, and in addition, we will be obviously hitting Mercury in a very powerful way, but these transmissions will be heard and decoded by many civilizations. At least it's been my experience.
Oh, interesting. The constellation of Libra and Virgo are on either side of Mercury right now. So Virgo's head is right, literally in almost perfect alignment with the sun. In fact, the communication chakra, throat chakra in Virgo right now, which is what we're doing, is the sun is right on top of throat chakra in the constellation of Virgo right now. I can't show you this because if I flip my phone around the other way, it's going to show you what's behind me. So I think that's pretty magical. So Virgo, which is again today is my wife Crystal's birthday. She's on the other side. Hopefully she can feel this. And we are 1 minute, less than 1 minute.
So well, 1 minute. So we'll be prepping here for the last countdown. Antenna is positioned. I will put the timer on, and I'm going to start recording the screen.
30 seconds.
$20 seconds.
20 seconds. We're ready to launch at the speed of light. We'll be in Mercury in 4.3 minutes.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Okay. So first transmission completed.
That was the pictogram.
So that was the pictogram that we saw earlier. We see this is a live, obviously, broadcast here. We see planes just flying above the antenna here.
Oh, I see that. Oh my God.
Yeah. This is real.
Ready, Captain. Captain Kirk.
And so between each transmission, there is a pause of 1 minute to allow the amplifiers and the equipment to cool down. This transmission consumes a lot of power, and so we're going to have.
I really felt that in my crown chakra. My whole crown chakra really lit up. And what I'm doing is pushing my call button down on my handheld radio, which causes my whole nervous system to vibrate at 430.
Okay, the next one is going now. All right. Okay, 1 more minute before the next transmission starts. The next transmission will be. Let me just put the schedule.
That was the 144 one tone, or were those the Mercury?
So we just did 144.1 hertz tone, and the next one's going to be the Mercury scale up.
Okay. So this next set of frequencies will be tuning everybody to the frequencies of Mercury, which is calculated mathematically. I'm muting my mic just so there's no feedback.
Okay, so that's second transmission started now. Okay. Well, next one will be Crystal's song.
Crystal solo, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the time, everybody, just to really focus on your intentions. This is about a 5 or 6 minute piece.
Okay. So the next one will be beautiful, beautiful chant, by the way. Next one will be your message, David.
Once the amp cools down.
Yep.
Okay. Hi, this is David Sereda. We're calling upon you, Archangel Michael, the messenger god, the messenger angel, and the messenger of between humankind, and that is the kindness of humans to God. We on Earth believe we need serious help from above. Our planet has been hijacked by evil lords. We beg you, Archangel Gabriel, to send this message to God in the highest. And please, please send help to planet Earth. Please, we beg you, send help to planet Earth.
Right. So our next one will be the children's voice.
The children's voice. This is really cute. This is
That's cute.
pretty innocent stuff, everybody.
My name is Daya. Daya. Little angel. Little angel. Little angel. Little angel. Little angel. Calling all angel. My name is Alira. Calling on all angels. Calling on all angels. Calling on all angels. Calling on all angels.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Okay. And the
Now just
last.
the final pictogram, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. My radio is chirping at 432 megahertz. It's responding, which
just
is
heard
never
that.
done at that frequency, right?
Yeah, I just heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, it normally only does that at the 144.1, so that's interesting already. It's done that 3 times actually in between each one, there's a chirping response. And the people who've seen Jimmy's documentary will know what that means. Okay.
All right, that's it. That completed the sequence.
All right, Jimmy, we did it. Thank you, everybody, for participating here tonight. And it's a very sweet, very gentle message. You know, I'm asking for help for planet Earth. I'm not specifying what that help is because I'm assuming the angels know what to do, and it's really just a very gentle way of knocking on heaven's door. And unless like a small child shall you enter the kingdom of heaven, we got the children. Thank you everyone for participating, and I hope you sent out your loving healing intentions that you asked for. And please, you know, contact us through the website if you have any follow-up experiences, which could come even in the next few weeks. Watch your dreams, watch your insights, and even watch the license plates in front of you. I had that happen to me. So thank you, everybody.
So,
and,
so
anything
thanks.
you want to say, Jimmy? Or
thanks, David. So yeah, we'll for those who wants to stay on, we'll play the mini documentary. I do have a 30-minute mini documentary that will play now to conclude this sessions, and we will not come back after, so we'll just let it run its course, and after it, then the broadcast will be over. So this documentary lasts 30 minutes. It's a condensed version of the longer version, which lasts 1 hour. So it's a condensed version, but there's, I think, enough information in there to give the audience an idea of the contact modality, this first contact protocol modality. And also, I mean, it's been validated by experiencers all over the world. So it's not something that was just concocted here. So it's been validated, and we'll keep using it in the coming weeks and months for these transmissions. So I'm going to share my screen now, if that's okay.
okay, bye everybody. Enjoy the documentary. It's really incredible. Please watch it. I've seen this, and it's really quite mind-blowing. We'll see you next time.
Okay, thank you. So let me share my screen. Share screen.
It's because we have a limited view, because we observe the universe and we interpret it. with our level of technology,
Right. That's right.
and it's very dangerous because we forget that like it's most likely so far beyond what we can imagine.
Right.
We assume that something we think is like not possible or it's magic or whatever, but it's basically maybe just a different way of communicating.
Yeah, and I can tell you from experience that's true.
Mhm.
I've been engaging in something called the CE6 meditation for initiating global contact. And
with Stephen Greer.
no, well, I learned his meditation, which he calls the CE5 protocol, right?
Okay, yeah.
We've developed something, Tejbar and a good friend of mine who lives about 20 miles away, Jimmy Blanchette, he developed a way to communicate with extraterrestrials using a radio telescope. And he has one in his backyard that's massive, 150 kilowatts.
Wow.
And it blasts. So he encodes a message into an audio file, and he aims it at the moon and blasts the moon, and that thing reflects everywhere. And we actually had him create a special message for the harmonic convergence. It's an image that he encodes in the audio message, and you can decode it with an audio analyzer right on your cell phone. I'll show it to you later. We have this up on the website.
So this is, my little table and my chair where I sit in the evening. And behind is my little tower and a huge antenna, which is pointed towards space right now. So it is very big. It's as big as my house almost. You can see behind, the big palm trees. So it's a big antenna. And I have loaded up the message that I'm going to transmit right now with the big antenna outside. So the system puts out about 150,000 watts of power. That's a lot of power. And it's directed like a laser beam directly at the target. In this case, we're going to target the moon. So we see here the coordinate of the moon at this time. It's 204.9 azimuth and the elevation 36.6. So all I do is target or point the antenna just like a laser beam at in this case, at the moon. And I have loaded up the message on the screen, and I'm going to transmit the message, a message of gratitude in this case, a thank you message. So the transmission is going to last about 15 seconds, and you will be able to hear all the digital code going. All right, so we're going to start in a few seconds. All right, so transmission starting in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Here we go. So it's already done. So we just transmitted a message of gratitude. And so that's how I did it the first time that I had my first close encounter. It's 2:16 in the morning. The radio is very active right now. Welcome, good morning, my dear friends and cosmic family. Thank you for being here. Are you here, my friends? Thank you for being here. Can you give me a sign of your presence? Thank you so much.
We just transmitted Jimmy's message, and all three of the transmitters lit up simultaneously. We just got to the house. We're making dinner, and we are. Is it going off right now?
Yeah.
Magnetometer is going off. So we are getting activity. Oh, magnetometer is going off the charts. Oh my gosh.
I have got
Oh my God, this is really going off the charts.
goosebumps. This is crazy, so good.
This is going off the charts. Look at that.
Whoa.
And you had no activity here when you
It
walked
was
here.
zero. It was flatline.
This is like it's peaking all the way, all the way, all the way.
It's going.
I couldn't even
Oh my
breathe,
gosh.
so I like it stopped me breathing. It was just,
Oh, bring your magnetometer here real quick, please.
yeah, let's check and see what.
Let's just make sure that we're not picking up anything
Is
else.
it like those lights?
Oh my God. Put it right next to Kim's so I can see it. Holy, okay.
They're synchronized.
Oh, well, speaking of devil luck, there were all three. Oh my God, all four of them.
Oh my Lord.
This is crazy.
Look at that.
We got responses.
Thank you. As soon as
Thank
you
you
transmitted.
very much.
We love you. As soon
Thank
as you
you.
transmitted the message.
I think there's more than one up there.
Thank you.
There's two different ones flashing us.
30. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's hovering now.
Whoa.
Is there anyone who hasn't
We all see it.
Whoa. They're just signaling. Whoa. That's bright. Whoa. Thank you.
There's two flashing.
I got to the park. Both radio were very quiet, and from the moment that I made a transmission, the reply came through almost immediately. So it's a beautiful day here. I have made a request for a day sighting if it is safe and appropriate, and so we'll see that they can make it happen safely. So we've got a lot of interactions already, and the group is getting set up for the night. We've got,
Yeah, I have a
you see? So, here we go. It's a beautiful sight. It's
Mine's been going nuts.
it's very powerful up there. All right, now see another one going up here. So we recognize they have different energetic signature.
And also, there are no direct roads going to this area, and it's a pretty treacherous climb up this boulder because you're going to have people are saying, well, those are campers. If those are campers and that's a tent, if it's a half mile away, that thing would have to be the size of a circus tent.
And on fire.
Yeah, and on fire, right. Right.
Hi everyone, I'm Mark Kaprowski, and I am standing on the rooftop of my building in Tokyo, Japan. Our contact group has been using the radio contact modality now for about 2 years with really great results. We use these two radios. This was our first radio. This is the Baofeng F8HP. And this radio we got just a few days ago. And this is also a Baofeng UV-S9. So get yourself a radio, give it a try. I think you'll be impressed by the results. So good luck with that, and goodbye from Tokyo.
Oh, wow. If you could see this. They're going off. Yeah. Hello. So
All right. I want to stop it here.
33 a.m., April 27th, 2020. All right, getting out of the car. Okay, see if we got a reply this morning. I'm looking up to see if I can see the object again this morning. And there's nothing at this point. Here we go, reply came through. So the reply just came through. I'm looking up now if I can see the object. I will start recording if I see anything.
Could you come towards me if you're here, please? Okay, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to sit down here. And if anybody feels inclined, they can come. Thank you. I see you all now. Here we are. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, thank you. Oh, that is just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Your energy in front of me, manifesting so in such a beautiful way.
Hi, my name is Mark Sims, and I live in Ojai, California, and I have successfully made contact using Jimmy Blanchette's radio contact modality. The radio I used is this one. It's a Baofeng BF-F8HP, and here's what happened when I made contact. Encoded in this audio message is an image that includes a message and symbols and other information that you can see on the website thc2020.org/CE6. Here we go. So far, nothing. All right. Wow. Wow. I'm getting chills. This is amazing. All right.
Hi, my name is Linda Aurora. I'm from the Netherlands. I went to Antarctica in 2019, January, February, and took one of my radios with me. I have 3 radios. I know Jimmy for some years now, and Jimmy taught us how to work with the radios and the frequencies. We worked in a very small group. We are still working in a very small group, and see how the radios respond and what happens when you use the radios or when the radios respond, what you can see. Sometimes you see very fast UFOs flying over. In this next picture, I show you that something was flying from down, left, going to the right, in the middle, going up, and going all the way up to the left and disappears. So I changed it a bit to show you how the craft or the UFO was flying. And all the same moment with the radios. So that moment that the radios went off, I took live pictures on my iPhone, and later on my computer or iPad, I was watching it, and then I could see what was going on in the sky when the radios went off. So there's a lot of activity when that happens.